Mr. Fessos, please unmute yourself. You're talking, you do unmute yourself. Please look at your button and unmute yourself to talk.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, sorry for the transmission in the good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Sonny Pedi Festor Moses, an alumnus of Global Arts Immersive Fellowship, West Africa region. Today, I'm very happy to be the moderator for the program. Before I proceed, I would like you to send in your best emoji before we proceed. I would like you to send in your best emoji. Okay, as we do that, I know some of you will be wondering why we gathered here this evening. Today is World Mental Health Day 2022. We may want to know the reason why it calls for celebration today. Mental Health Day is a day set aside to raise awareness of mental health issues around the world and to mobilize effort in support of mental health. Today, we'll be having stakeholders working on mental health issues to talk about their work and what more needs to be done to make mental health care a reality for people worldwide. And health, they say, is wealth. Without health, there's no wealth. At this junction, I would like to call on East Africa alumni coordinator in person of Jim to kindly introduce our first speaker for today. The floor is open to you, ma'am.
All right, thank you so much. So I'd like to introduce our first speaker, who goes by the name Annie Bankoleris. A little introduction about Annie. Annie is an award-winning textile artist and an independent researcher who writes and lectures in the field of material culture and is a fellow of the RAI. Annie is also an advocate of the therapeutic benefits of creativity and the arts in the mental health sphere. She has been chair of the NHS England Adult Mental Health Advisory Network, as well as a public governor of a leading NHS mental health trust. Annie also sits on the board of a mental health charity. Welcome, Annie. We are excited to have you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And I would like to thank the Global Arts in Medicine Fellowship for inviting me to talk. And I know a bit about what you do and really value what you do. And I think that this is a very important message that you're trying to get across. I think it's a very important day, obviously, because I am very passionate about mental health issues. When we talk about mental health, I know my talk today is meant to be mental health and mental health at work. But when we talk about mental health, what do we mean? If you're living and you're breathing, you have mental health. Everybody has mental health, because if you think, that is mental. What we are aspiring for is good mental health. In other words, positive well-being. And then we have to ask ourselves, what is work? When we talk about mental health at work, what do we mean by work? Because work could be all sorts of things. It could be formal work in the office. It could be to do with our professions. It could be, we could be self-employed. We could be working from home in so many different ways. And every single one of those avenues of work or types of work brings its own stresses and pressure. And those are the things that impact on our mental health. The various sorts of stresses and pressure, conflicting demands, pressure from over prioritization. You have to do this, you have to do that. Which do you do first? Perfectionism. We have to do want to make sure everything we do is absolutely perfect, whether it's making sure that every patient we see is, walks out of, our surgery in the best of health, or it's that a commission we've been given is absolutely perfectly executed. We put all these pressures on ourselves. And then there's societal pressures, which as adults, as people, we can't but face. And if you live, as someone who lives in the Western world, I'm aware that there are all sorts of attendant pressures that come with that. As a Black person living in the Western world, there are societal pressures that come. But even back home, there are all sorts of societal pressures. There's pressure of family. You have to, cater for your family. You have to deal with energy problems. You have to deal with social problems. So all of these things impact on us. And at the same time, you're having to do, a job of work. And then there's imposter syndrome, where you are having to fight yourself and convince yourself that you're up to the work that you've been given to do. So we all deal with these pressures. And we've been conditioned to believe that the harder you work, the better it is. So you're told, stay in the office till really late, work till 9 o'clock, take work home. As a teacher, you take work home, you're marking papers till the end, till all the hours God sends. All of these things bring pressure. And of course, not everybody is the same. Some people deal with pressure better than others. Now, in this country, there are certain protections around one's mental health and around the Disability Act and around Equality Act 2010 and things like that, which isn't necessarily the case for other countries. So I won't go too far down that road because I know that this is an international forum. What I'm more concerned about is how do we deal with these pressures that we encounter at work that impact on our mental health? I will give a personal story. I'm one of those people who, I have two speeds. I'm either stop or full on. So I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm juggling all the balls all the time. You know that feeling where we're all, you're a parent, you're a this, you're a that, you're doing all of these things. And it was beginning to get to me. It was beginning to get to me. But I couldn't admit that it was beginning to get to me because we have been conditioned to feel that we have to be superwoman, Superman. Any admission of things getting to you, of being under stress, is an admission of weakness. And it wasn't until I realized that they say palm tree does, in a high wind doesn't break, it bends. I realized I wasn't a palm tree. I could break. I could break very easily. And that made me start to think about work-life balance. That's the important thing, work-life balance. it's very important to get that right. Now, there are all sorts of ways of recognizing that stress is there, and there will always be stress at work. Even if you work for yourself, there will be stress at work, because working for yourself does not mean that you don't encounter other people. And the other people you encounter have their own stress. They have their own lives. And so it's imperative to recognize that one of the givens of life is that there will be stress. How one approaches that stress is very important. And in approaching that stress, it's also the mechanisms that one uses to deal with it. And this is where creativity for me comes in. And I'm a firm believer in the therapeutic effects of creative activity on reducing stress, on promoting well-being. For me, it's a way of showing both self-love and self-care. And people say, oh, but I'm not, what do you mean by creativity? I'm not creative, I can't draw. Well, neither can I. To be honest, if I had to draw to earn my living, I would be starving. Creativity is such a wide spectrum. And I know you are all people who are creatives in one way or another. And this is what I talk about, finding something creative that enables you to, that triggers the endorphins. As you know, endorphins help to relieve stress. And so you find something that releases these endorphins, something pleasurable, a pleasurable activity, an activity that puts you in a frame of mind where you don't necessarily solve the stress, but you're able to wall them off for a while and take a breather, take some time out for yourself and care for yourself, care for your mental health. I call that personal medicine. It's like you find yourself your own prescription, a prescription that the doctor doesn't have to write for you, something that you choose, something that you enjoy. It could be anything, it could be meditation, it could be writing, it could be journaling, it could be poetry, it could be music, it could be gardening, exercise, sewing, crafting, collaging, anything. But it's something that you are doing because it makes you feel good, because it takes you out of the place of stress. It takes you out of the hurly-burly of the working world and enables you to lose yourself in it. While you're in it, you are totally engrossed. You are lost in it. You are able to feel that your mind is smoothed and your mind is soothed. That is self-care. Now, how do we, some of us are employers, how do we now translate this out of the personal into the working world writ large? I came across a quotation today that said, conversations are how we share ideas, work together, build friendships, and ask for help when we need it. Now, people you work with, your colleagues or yourself or your boss, everybody is dealing with this stress. But because we're all walled off from one another, and we're all, as Nigerians will say, forming big man, and everybody's, we're all, trying to be perfect. We're not allowing ourselves to help one another. I'm a firm believer in asking for help and proffering help. And we are the people who can show the generations coming behind us how it's done. We are the people who can show that art can be a gateway to releasing, to addressing the stress that we all feel. And I think the first step to doing that is actually admitting that there is a mental health issue, a mental health crisis actually, worldwide, and taking it from there. Going into the workplace and saying, actually, why don't we have just an hour a week where people can sit down and talk if they want to talk, share if they want to share, no judgment. Or have a buddy system where people can, one person where you can, within reason, unburden yourself, or just talk things through, or just have someone that you can joke with, someone that you can, because that laughter is a great endorphin trigger as well. And also a great creativity trigger as well. So I don't know if this is what you've come to hear, but I firmly believe in personal medicine. I firmly believe in using creativity as medicine. I don't think it needs a course. I don't think you need to go on a course to learn how to be creative necessarily. I think that everybody has creativity within them. I think that everybody has something that they enjoy doing. Enjoying doing something doesn't necessarily mean you're very good at it. I enjoy drawing. I'm absolutely hopeless at it. But it's a way of relieving stress. Going to, an hour a day, take it from there. At work, an hour a week, just set some time away. Lunchtime at the beginning of the day. And keep reminding yourself that life-work balance is the most important thing for positive well-being. Nobody's indispensable. Nobody is. I realized that. I set up a national team many years ago, I can still remember. And I thought that it revolved around me. When I fell ill and had to take a few weeks off, it didn't collapse. The building didn't come down. The people didn't, nobody said, woe is me. Things continue. But you won't continue if you don't take care of yourself. Work isn't everything. Find something you love and use it as your personal medicine. And I will stop there, and I hope that there has been something that strikes someone today. And if there are any questions, I'm willing to answer them. Thank you. Once again, thank you for inviting me to talk.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that brilliant presentation. I want to believe that somebody actually have question or questions, please. If you do have question, please put your question in the chat and then we can read out to our four speakers, please. Please, let's all applaud our fourth speaker, everyone. Let's appreciate her for that wonderful presentation. She has given us insights on self-care, even the place of work, how you can connect to creativity around you to support your mental well-being. So, I mean, thank you so much for that. If you do have questions, please kindly ask your question, everyone. I'm going to ask you question. I'm going to start first. I know there's so much around around mental health issues, even in the place of work, in the place of stress, because many people are mentally stressed because of workload. And so people don't know how to say no to their bosses or to their employers because one, they ask you, when you will be employed, they give you like maybe a document that says what you have to do. Then when you resume work, your work is multiplied and you have to deliver. How do you say no to your boss without losing your job? How do you say no to your employer without losing your sanity, without losing your salary, right? So how do you say no?
That's a very difficult one. And I think, again, that very much depends on where you work, both in terms of the sector you work in, but also in terms geographically. For me, people who work with me, my attitude is, as long as the work is done, I honestly don't care when you do it, how you do it. As long as if I say, could I have this on Wednesday? I don't micromanage. But I understand, so if you want to wake up at 2 o'clock on Tuesday morning to do it, just to hand it in to me on Wednesday, as long as it's done well, I don't care. But I quite understand that I'm not everybody. And there are some circumstances where people cannot do that. I also understand, and as I said, you know, I live here, and so there are certain protections. And a member of staff can say, actually, I am not feeling well enough to do this, or this is beyond my you know, beyond my contract, or I don't, you know, I think this is overloading me. I know not everybody has that that privilege. However, I would say that if you are in a position where you are quite clearly being taken advantage of by your employer, there are some very hard questions you need to ask yourself. Is that pace of work sustainable for you in terms of your long-term mental health? In terms also of your long-term physical health? Because Latin, it says mens sana in corpore sano, a healthy mind is a healthy body, or in a healthy body. If you are overworked, your health will break down. So not addressing it, I think, is counterproductive. And as I said, I understand the privilege from which I'm talking. I know that not everybody has that privilege. However, I would personally start to look for another job while possibly hinting to my boss, or trying to find a solution. Maybe is it possible for that, some of that work to be delegated to somebody else? Looking for solutions to that situation with that may not incur the sack. But I would also be looking to my health long term, because if you lose your job today and you've got your health, you can find another job. If you lose your health, you will lose your job. And the chances of finding another job while you're unwell is much more difficult. So those are very hard questions. And it would depend on where you are. There's some circumstances where, yes, you can talk to your boss and say, I'm afraid I'm struggling, or I'm afraid that's a bit too much. And there's some circumstances where you can't. And it's up to the individual to judge that. I'll stop there.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that insightful response. I'm going to also like flip the coin to the other side, you know, speaking from through the lens of an employer. How can you encourage employers? Because I know that in several places of work, they hardly consider the mental well-being of their staff members. They just want results. Every employer wants results, regardless of how you do it. There've been cases of people who died, who were sick, actually, and they inform their employers or their bosses that they are not feeling well, and they're like, they don't care. And they've lost their lives in the process. And I know many people on this Zoom call today are also by default, they are leaders, their employers. How can they factor in or support the mental well-being of the people they work with or people that work with them? You're muted, please.
My apologies. I knew that would happen at some point. Bear with me. As I said, I think that every employer owes the employees a duty of care. Your employees are not slaves. You have a contract with them. It's, the relationship you have is transactional. You are not paying them. You're not just giving them money out of the goodness of your heart. They are doing specific pieces of work and they are being recompensed for that work. And so your duty of care is to ensure that your employees are safe. And safety encompasses a lot of things, that they're safe physically, that they're safe mentally as well. And safe mentally includes not overly stressing them by making them do over and beyond their job description. As long as your employees are working to their job description, anything over and above that as an employer you want them to do has to be renegotiated, in my opinion. However, I am also aware that in many parts of the world that isn't the case. And that for very many employees, they don't feel in the position to bring that up. As an employer, I think that do a risk assessment in your workplace. Ask your employees how they feel about the working practices, about the how they the work they do, how it's how the ethos of the company and all of that. Take a gauge of the mental temperature where you work. And if you find that there is something to be addressed, then address it. There's that thing, oh, the employees will take us for granted. No, they won't. I find that when employees are happy, when they feel that they're validated, when they feel that they're listened to, when they feel that their employers appreciate them, they work harder, they're more willing to go the extra mile. A happy employee is a happy company. Overworked and overstressed employees, well, such companies have a rapid turnover of staff. A rapid turnover of staff does not say very much about a company because it means that you're constantly having to reinvent the wheel. I don't know if I've answered the question. But all I would say is make allowance, make accommodation for you and make allowances for your employees to be able to articulate what they're feeling in a safe space. So do a survey, make it anonymous, but that will give you an understanding of how your employees really feel, whether they feel stressed, whether they feel safe, if they're feeling overworked, if they're feeling underpaid. Don't we all feel underpaid? But it will give you a sense.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I'm going to hand over to Mr. Festus now. I love the statement, the quote that was posted by Ashley from you. A happy employee makes a happy company. Many companies have actually lost their best because they never have the best interest of their best at heart in the place of mental health. So those people resign or they just leave. Thank you so much for your incredible input on the word mental health, making mental health a priority in the place of work. And I've learned so much from your session today. I'm going to hand over right away now to Mr. Festus to introduce the person that will introduce the next speaker. Thank you so much. Please let's appreciate any bank holiday race. Everyone, please use the emojis to celebrate her for spending our evening with us today. Thank you so much. Mr. Festus, over to you, please. Mr. Festus, over to you, please.
All right. Hello, everyone.
Hi, hi.
Thank you. Thank you to our first speaker, Annie Bankole Race. Thank you so much, ma'am. It was really insightful. I had a great time listening to you. And I'm hoping that employers and employees learn a thing or two from all you have said today. So thank you very much. You're highly appreciated. So we're going on to introduce the second speaker. She will be introduced by Dr. Sama, the alumni coordinator from North Africa and the Middle East. Dr. Sama, are you here? Please introduce our next speaker. Thank you.
No, she's not here. Just go ahead and introduce her so that we can save time. I can find her.
All right. Okay. So our next speaker is Dr. Chioma Akin Adekaye. Dr. Chioma has an MSc in psychology. She's done several professional development training in areas that concern schools, troubled children and adolescents, children and adolescent sexuality, counseling, and therapy. She has interest in the mental well-being of individuals within this age group. She is presently head of school at King's Court Nursery and the managing consultant at Hannah's Home education consult. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Chioma Akin Adekaye. Thank you very much.
Dr. Chioma, over to you.
Hello, Dr. Chioma, are you there?
Ashley, should we go to our third speaker very quickly? We don't want this long silence. So it's already evening. I want to make sure that time management is very important for us. If the third speaker is there, Esther Richards is here, so let's introduce
Esther
her.
Richards is here. Okay. Yes, we have Esther Richards. Esther, are you here? Can I quickly read your profile?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. Thank you very much. Apologies for that breaking transmission. I'm sure Dr. Chioma will come up after Esther. So our next speaker is Esther Etim, also known as Esther Richards, is a creative consultant and lifestyle fitness coach with over 8 years of leadership and management experience in the health and fitness industry and over 20 years in the creative space. She is passionately committed to improving the quality of life for young creatives, as well as bridging the gap in the health sector in Nigeria. Esther holds a degree in environmental protection and resource management and is currently a CCP fellow from OPEX Coaching Certificate Program, a high-valued international fitness coaching, education, and certification program in Scottsdale, United States. She also has a diploma in nutrition and life coaching. A dancer turned lifestyle fitness coach and consultant, Esther is driven by the mission of helping women and professionals simplify fitness, healthy lifestyle, save time, and manage stress through her signature lifestyle management programs. She also uses dance to improve the lifestyle and well-being of the women and professionals in her community. Her undeniable passion for dance as a tool for change was driven for the establishment of AINESIS in 2012, an organization that helps young disadvantaged dancers develop their talent and earn while doing what they love. She has reached 1,000 women through dance and over 5,000 children since inception. Wow, this is a very strong profile. So let me quickly end by saying Esther is also very passionate about entrepreneurship and advancing the sustainable development goals. She's an alumni of Founder Institute, Future Females Business School, and an Arts in Medicine Fellow, a Savvy Fellow, and a Financial Times Challenger. Esther recently won the KAD Fund grant for her mental health project, dance therapy, titled In His Shoes, for working women dealing with stress, pain, and relief. Please welcome our speaker for today, who will be speaking on making mental health a priority in society. Please welcome Esther Richards. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Could you help me with my slide, please? I'm trying to get this out. Could you help me with my slide, please? Good evening, everyone. I'm really excited to be here. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I am really, really excited. Okay, I would really like my slides to be ready, and while the slide is getting ready, I had a moment while I was preparing my presentation for today, and that moment was centered around the society at large. And I'm thinking to myself, how possible is it to have mental health become a priority in a society? It looks like it's almost unachievable as a Nigerian who lives in Calabar, and I watch how people live. As a Nigerian also who has been schooled and grown in an environment that is very hostile and doesn't really support uniqueness, doesn't celebrate your uniqueness, questions everything that makes you who you are, questions your personality. It's very interesting. So I had time to think through this topic. I mean, I had a lot of time to think through this topic. Ashley, please let me know when the slide is ready. But in a nutshell, I would say that one thing that stood out for me while I was going through this topic was a very interesting key phrase that I came up with. I said that mental health is a collective responsibility of everyone in society. It's not the UN's responsibility, it's not arts and medicine's responsibility, it's not the responsibility of the people who are actually taking time to do something about the problem. It's none of their responsibilities. I mean, it's not their main responsibility, it's everybody's. It starts with you, it starts with me, it starts with your office, it starts with your boss, everybody has a role to play. And I say, imagine a world where everyone is mindful. Imagine a world where everyone is mindful of what they say. Imagine a world where everyone celebrates everyone's uniqueness. Imagine a world where everyone is looking out for the good of the other. Imagine that world. That world is possible, but it takes a lot and a lot of work. So thank you very much, Ashley. Thank you, Shegun. Thank you, everyone. Yes, I'm very excited. I'm also an arts and medicine fellow. I'm not sure that was in my bio. That was the longest bio I've ever listened to in my life, and I'm wondering, is that me? Okay, thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you. All right, now what is mental health? Because even up until this year, I have a lot of people wondering, asking me, what does mental health mean? And I had to just break it down because the definitions I've seen around have been very, very ambiguous. So I had to break it down, and I probably give an example. This is the ability to process information. Every day we have conversations with people. Every day people speak to us, and sometimes what they say gets to affect us negatively or positively. Our ability to process that information, to take action, positive action or negative action, determines whether we are mentally healthy or not, right? And I'm trying to move my slide. It's not moving. So can you help me with? It's not moving. All right. And right now in our modern society, where we have, of course, the haves and have-nots is a big deal. If you are not on social media, you don't know, you are lost. If you don't have this set of shoes, you don't have this kind of phone, this pressure, if you're not with this clique, if you're not doing this, if you're not doing that, you are not hip, right? So this pressure put on young people, even put on older people, the older generation, because everybody gets to feel this pressure. This pressure put on all of these people is being handled differently. And at the background of everything, what people really want is a sense of belonging. What people really want is a sense of acceptance. What people really want is to be loved and appreciated for who they are. That's what people really, really want. But this world doesn't this world is not nice. This world doesn't hand you that. This world doesn't offer you that. Right? And if you're in Nigeria, you have to work, I don't want to say twice as hard, you have to work more than twice as hard to get the things that you really want, right? So the impact, I can't say I haven't felt the impact. I have, and I don't think there's anybody here who hasn't felt a sense of loss or a sense of detachment from your family, your friends, and regular routines. I don't think there's anyone who hasn't felt that, especially during the COVID-19 lockdown. Everybody felt some level of that. I don't think there's anybody here who hasn't experienced nervousness, anxiety in their personal and professional life. I don't think there's anybody here who hasn't experienced a bout of depression. There have been tons and tons of this, right? Our mental health helps us determine how we handle stress in relationship with others and in making healthy choices. You can see for yourself, these numbers are rising every single day. The death rate is going high. It's becoming, I won't say fashionable, but it's becoming a bit rampant now in Nigeria. Early this year, a creative killed himself, and he left a note saying that he doesn't think he is worth anything. He's tired of struggling. We can see that these things have to do with how they process information, how they feel, how they think, how they perceive the things that are happening to them. That's what it actually means. The numbers are rising every single day. Yeah, actually, you can help me with the next slide. Numbers are rising every single day. Numbers are rising. Yeah, so and again, how does our mental health affect our society at large? How does it affect our society? When we have unaddressed mental health problems, they can make people just get out of their homes. They can make people unproductive at work, and poverty can just hit someone like a hurricane, right? Lack of employment can happen. People will become unproductive at their job and they will lose their jobs, right? People who are living with people who are mentally ill or are suffering from a mental health problem are no longer safe. It affects every single thing that we do. That's why I said it's a collective responsibility. We can't say it's for this person, it's not my business, it's everybody's business. Everybody has to weigh in, chime in with their roles and make things happen. It's a collective responsibility. Yes. Ashley, next slide. And then I just began to envisage a mentally healthy society. I began to envisage it. And I said, building a mentally healthy society is a collective responsibility of everyone, regardless of their status. If they are poor, they're rich, they are whatever, disabled, whatever, everybody has a role to play. And because our mental health influences the quality of our life, it makes sense that we take it as serious as we take our physical health. Everyone wants to look in a certain way. Everyone wants to lose weight. Everyone has goals about their physical looks, about their physical activity. They want to work out 3 times a day, work out, eat healthy, and all of these things. It's fine, it's great, but it's very important to know that without your mental health, you are not truly healthy. Health is a broad term, and there are 5 aspects of health, right? The mental health is only one aspect. Your physical health is only one aspect. There are various aspects of your health. So if you ignore any of these 5, you have your physical health, emotional health, spiritual health, mental health, and you have your social health. All of these things are related. For you to say you're truly healthy, there has to be some healthy balance and equilibrium on all these fronts. When we're mentally healthy, we know what happens. When you are mentally healthy, you will enjoy your life and environment and the people in it. Now, let's take a look at the statement again. It has to do with people. It has to do with people, because if I'm alone by myself, I have no interaction with anyone. So you can see the relationship between your social health and your mental health. Very related. And then you can see emotional health, the way you feel, that's feeling. That's also part of your health, right? Then your physical health, it's just like it receives everything and then it just gives it off. So if you're not mentally healthy, your body begins to show, your body begins to speak and download what's going on in here. So everything is connected. But the most important thing I didn't mention here is your spiritual health. Your spiritual health is what holds every single thing together. So it's important that if you have a relationship with God, you strengthen it in these times, because that's where your identity will come from. That's where your confidence will come from. You can't depend on anyone to give you the confidence and to give you your identity. That's where you get it from. Here are a few tips. I know it's actually a collective responsibility. There are things that people can do to make your life less stressful, but there are things you ought to do. And in no particular order, value yourself. What value do you place on yourself? What value do you place on yourself? Now, in value yourself, how do you carry yourself? How do you see yourself? What do you say about yourself? How do you describe yourself? Do you even love yourself? Because if you don't love yourself, you can't love your neighbor. You can't love anyone. You can't. You need to be able to love, respect, and value yourself so you can extend that to someone else. And then taking care of your body. I mean, it's non-negotiable. Everything here is non-negotiable. But imagine yourself without the body. There's no you, right? So it's important that we do our frequent checks, rest when you have to, learn to say no, because it all starts from there. Burnout is not something that comes out from the blue. Burnout starts from not being able to say no, or not even being able to understand yourself. Not being self-aware will make you take jobs you have no business taking. It will make you make friends you have no business making. It will make you make decisions you have no business making. So it's important that you understand yourself enough to know what works for you and the kind of future you want to build, so you're intentional in your journey, right? Surround yourself with good people. It is your responsibility, right? You didn't choose your parents, but you can choose your friends. It's intentional that God gave us that power of choice to be able to pick the people we want in our circle, people we want in our inner circle, the people we want to share our dreams with, people we want to share our life with. You cannot give yourself to everyone. And again, I'll say this, you shouldn't give your phone number to someone you just met today, except it's a business relationship. This is out of my slide, and I'm saying this because I know we are victims of this every single day. I was on LinkedIn some days ago having a chat with someone. Please go back. That's where I'm going to stay. I was on LinkedIn some days ago chatting with someone, and the first thing, I've never really met you. Yes, we share common values and this, but I don't really know you. And they were asking me for my number. I can't let you into my space, not just yet. You need to earn that space. So we're quick to share our contact with people. I said, whatever conversation you have with me, let's keep it on LinkedIn. I can't hand you my WhatsApp for nothing. I won't let you into my space. I won't want to have to view your status on WhatsApp. I won't want to have to drink from you. I won't want to have to learn from you. I want to have to filter the things that we need to protect: our ear, our minds, the three gates that we have: our ear, our minds, and our mouth. We need to protect all these things, protect them, right? Then practicing self-reflection. Once every day, time that you sit with yourself every day and begin to go through, what did I do? What did I do? How can I do this better? What did I do wrong? What can I do? What did this mean? Oh, maybe I should ask this person what this means. Maybe I overreacted here. Maybe I don't understand it. And we should learn to find ways to deal with stress. Every single day we should distress. Because we face stress every single day, we should distress every single day. What do I mean? You go to work every day, you come back stressed. What's that one thing you love? And make sure that one thing you love enhances and improves your health. Let's say you love to watch movies. So you schedule 1 hour every day to watch movies and unwind. If you love to take nuts and yogurt, unwind. Do that. Whatever makes you happy. Make sure you incorporate it into your daily routine every day. It will help your mental health. And then set realistic goals. This is so important. Because we just say, I want to be the best, we have to start at mastering the process. There are process goals and there are performance goals. We can't just stand here and say, I want to be this. Meanwhile, people who have been on this journey have mastered the process. We have to learn to set tiny, teeny, weeny goals that we keep winning every day. like goals that never have an end. You can't say you stop brushing your teeth. You need to brush your teeth every day to smell nice. So you need to set goals like brushing your teeth goals like having a morning routine that incorporates managing your mental health, goals like listening to messages, listening to music, having a morning routine, having an evening routine. All of these things are part of your habits, daily habits. The process determines your outcome, right? So setting realistic goals starts from setting process goals, and then you move on to performance goals, where it is going to happen. It's a byproduct. If you're consistent in reading books, you're definitely going to be able to write your book one day. If you're consistent in keeping to your routine in terms of what you eat, watch what you eat, do what your consultant and your coach says, you're definitely going to have that body that you want, your dream body. And then consciously be kind to others. Be kind. Whatever you don't want people to do to you, don't you do it to anyone else. Right? And join communities that have shared values. Make friendships with people that share the same value as you. Thank you very much.
Brilliant fireworks. Amazing. I have my questions for you here back. Right. Like Mr. Festor said, please, if you do have questions, please put in the chat. And I love what you said about protecting your mental health, not just dashing out your phone number like you're giving out money, right? And then allowing people to probably enter your space in a way that violates your mental health. People start messaging you, I have these needs, please help me to, different people with different agenda as it well. So but that was very, very profound. That was a very good one. I know like there's so much stigma, and you said so much about like the social media. You spoke about that. I mean, there's a way you really touch on that in a way that talking about making mental health a priority in this society. Talk about our journey, our personal responsibility. How do we create a society without stigma? How do we create a society without stigma? Because there's so much stigma around mental health, and that's why many people actually their life, right? So, I mean, that's my question to you. How do we create a society without stigma? That's my question to you first. And then I will encourage other people to probably ask their questions very quickly, everyone.
Okay, so I'm going to try to answer that question. Like I said, it's a collective responsibility. When I say collective, it means that everybody has a role to play. So there's no wrong or right way to build. Everybody has to have that mental health awareness at the back of their minds. The schools, the hospitals where people gather, the offices, the homes, every single body, the churches, everybody has to incorporate it into their business, into their life, into their homes. Consciously, parents can begin to speak gracefully to their children. Consciously, siblings can learn from their parents to speak graciously to themselves. Husbands can speak graciously, can be temperate, can be sensitive, can be understanding, can extend grace to people. Co-workers can extend grace to colleagues. It will reduce the amount of stigma that we face every single day if people are able to have that awareness, because a lot of people don't understand what it means to have any mental illness. They're like, she's just depressed now. Depression is a symptom of a bigger problem. That's where it starts. And when we have protracted depression, that's where we get to all the health, the mental illness we're seeing. When it's not treated and the person has accepted this thought for a long time, has processed this information for a long time, it just becomes normal. And that's the person's, and your mind is such a powerful tool, right? So I think it's a collective responsibility of the government, of establishments, companies, of you, of me, of the hospitals, the healthcare system, especially the places that dispense or provide care. Wherever there's care provided, especially those places, the hospitals that provides care, these places can easily integrate and incorporate strategies to be able to help us build a more stable society. I hope I answered your question.
You tried. Trust me, I'm all yours today. You tried, you did very well. You mentioned few things that I really love. Looking at the society, and I know the next speaker is probably going to really address making mental health as a priority for family. The family is the smallest unit of the society, right? And then you spoke about faith-based organizing, not just the churches, right? We're talking about the mosque, whatever religion you belong to, whatever faith you belong to. There are places where mental health conversation never take place. And there's so much happening to the members of those associations. It could be in a church where there's gender-based violence at home, and then they're just protecting the violators, the perpetrators of this violence, right? And also, it's very important that leaders of these institutions are able to bring forward, issues of mental health and encourage their members to speak up, because I think that is where it actually begins. Because people are really like, people are withdrawn, people are really scared of speaking up because of what people might say concerning their church, or concerning their mosque, or concerning the faith they belong to, or concerning the denomination they belong to, or concerning the family. Don't let me go there. I know Chioma probably is going to touch base on that. How can we encourage institution leaders, right? Because I think the big change when it comes to mental health is it begins with the institution, not just individuals. Because certain leaders of different institutions have strong influence on their followers, right? So how do we consolidate the effort of mental health professionals in terms of making mental health as a priority for society?
Okay, I think the most feasible way to go about this, from my own point of view, would be starting with dialogue. So a dialogue with facts. I mean, if the numbers, like I shared the numbers here, they're very, very startling, right? If we approach church leaders, if there's a body recognized in every part of Nigeria or every part of the world, a recognized body that is, I don't know who gives all of these, I don't know who is responsible for making this what it is, but I think if there's a recognized body, like UN is in every, UN is actually recognized, right? Let's say UN takes that as a priority and begins to want to incorporate this into the practice for companies, and begins to integrate this into the practice for maybe fellowships or just different agenda, right? Creating small subsets of opportunities where funding and support, because one of the major issues people with mental health suffer is accessing care. Just to have conversation with a mental health professional is about 20,000 naira, and you need about 10 sessions. I mean, this person hasn't even had breakfast consistently. How can he afford this? So if there's a body that's recognized and is building this awareness and momentum, or there's a body that is partnering with other influential bodies that are sharing the same goal, remember, it's a collective responsibility, then these kinds of projects will be easier when there's dialogue. So imagine that and it trickles down to the states, like in Nigeria, it trickles down to the presidency, trickles down to the states, with support, with funding. All you have to do is listen. Just the way Bill Gates has done something about malaria, that strategy is the strategy that I think will really work. Where people don't have to, now people will come out and say I have mental health problems because they don't have to pay any money, right? And they're not stigmatized, because from the head down, it's being kind of like filtered. It's convenient. Like when people were scared of saying they had HIV/AIDS, but now you're not stigmatized anymore. At least that stigma has reduced. You're not going to die because you have HIV/AIDS. You're human. You can still live a normal life. The stigma was crazy. So we have to have dialogue and more campaigns and more awareness, but in partnership with bodies that are recognized, and in partnership with communities like ours. Global Arts in Medicine Fellowship is a powerful platform that, if we are funded to cater to the creative community, we can, because we have access. So there are communities that have access to gates, that have access to authorities. They can be funded and they can be supported to make this happen.
Wonderful. I'm going to read. I've seen a question in the chat. I'm going to read it up, and I think all of the things you said are very profound and are very important. I know recently, one of the influencers, social media influencers, I can't remember her name now very well. She called out a particular doctor that raped somebody. I'm trying to remember her name. Kate Henshaw. Yeah, it was Kate Henshaw. I remembered, right? And then so I feel like, I mean, like what you said now is talking about making mental a priority for society. It's important that we stand up for the vulnerable. By speaking up for the vulnerable, I think it's one of the ways of making mental health a priority for the society, for people who do not have the power, the economic power, right? Still being able to speak up for them, using different different platform. But that's very powerful from you. Ashley asked this question. She said, what are the societal factors that hinder sense of self, and how can one navigate it? What are the societal factors that hinder sense of self, and how can one navigate it?
I think technology is just one blessing and a curse in disguise, in a way. I think also educational platforms. The way I was taught in school, I was taught and raised in fear. I mean, these established bodies that have learning associated with it are one of the major contributors to these problems. Because imagine your child went to a school where his or her self-esteem is not being bruised. Imagine coming out of there getting a job where your self-esteem is not being bruised. There again, these are two entities: school, work. And this is what makes up the routine of every individual. You go to school, you go to work, you go home. These three places currently in Nigeria, I speak as a Nigerian, and they are volatile. And the economy is not smiling. So parents are struggling to make ends meet. They are easily angered. They are easily irritated. So kids are being raised in a very harsh environment. So technology, like I said, is one. These institutions, all these places are contributing, right? And then of course, human beings, people, difficult people, we are all social beings. We love to relate, but we are scarred. Everyone is, like I spoke on a radio channel like some days ago, and the psychiatrist said everybody is mad. He didn't want to say everybody is mad, but he just said everybody has something that makes them, so everybody has their own, he calls it scoring, right? Everybody just has their own knob that they can just tune off. So nobody is really normal. Let's just forget that. Nobody's really normal. We all have that thing. If you just go touch it, we lose it, right? So everybody's exercising some level of control. And I think these institutions and these things I just mentioned have contributed largely to depleting the mental health of every individual involved. Right? I hope I've answered that question.
Yes. And thank you so much for all the amazing points you shared with us today. We can just stay with you for almost all through the night, but then we have to move to the next speaker, and I'm going to hand over to either Ashley or Mr. Festus. Let's applaud our speaker, Esther Richards. Everyone, let's use our emojis to celebrate her for a wonderful contribution on making mental health a priority for society. Thank you so much, Esther, for those brilliant contributions. We deeply appreciate you spending your time.
Thank you. My pleasure.
There, don't run away. There's good pepper soup for you. Just hang in there. We're going to go nice to our next speaker now.
Thank you.
Hand over to Ashley.
Thank you, everyone.
Over to you. Ashley. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Esther Richards. Thank you so much for the wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
Profound. I love how you brought in the different areas of society. You try to compress it to let us know what happens and our response to it and how we should, conduct ourselves in this wider society in terms of mental health. Thank you so much for coming on. We love this. Thank you so much. Okay, I
Welcome.
guess our third speaker is here. She's up and running. That is Dr. Choma Akin Adekaye. Dr. Choma, are you here?
Yes, thank you. I hope you can. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Dr. Choma. Welcome. Nice to have you here. Okay, she will be speaking to this theme, making mental health a priority in the family. So, Dr. Choma, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Annie. Thank you, Esther. I've taken a whole lot today. Esther, thank you. Now I know I can do self-reflection, go back on how my day has been. And from Annie, I've learned that I can be replaced anywhere, anytime. I shouldn't think everything revolves around me. Somebody can take up my place. You know, at the minute I'm broken down, somebody is there to take over and I may not even be missed. Thank you so much. I'm not going to remember all this. So very quickly, I'm going to be speaking on family, making mental health a priority in the family. So the family I'm concentrating on will be the family that is made up of mother, father, and children. It could be extended, it could be nuclear, it could be polygamous, it could be monogamous, but family, that unit. Then priority is making something preeminent, making it very important, knowing very well that it's crucial and shouldn't be taken with kid glove. Then mental health, basically, is your well-being, socially, emotionally, and psychologically, these three areas. And it all has to do with your mind. Whatever happens in your mind determines how your social life, your emotional life, and your psychological life would be. No wonder the very ancient but still very relevant book says, guard your heart with all diligence. That's the Bible. For out of it are the issues of life. We must protect our heart. So when something is in your heart, it determines how you feel. And how you feel determines how you act or react. Either you're going to react or you're going to respond to a situation. So what can families do to make mental health a priority? Now, let me give you some examples of some things that have happened in families that I know. Some 2 years ago, a young lady called me up. That was in 2020, that her brother, her younger brother, had constantly raped their younger sister, who was 17 years old then. The parents are not aware. But how did they get to this level? And now the problem here is that this sister that reported and the one that is being raped, there's a serious hatred towards the brother. And I was afraid that one day they may plan to kill him. And that's a crisis waiting to happen. And we're in the society, and those people also belong to larger groups in the society. Another one is a young chap I worked with, hasn't even entered secondary school. And constantly he's seen the father abuse the mother physically. The whole family has been with lots of issues. And this boy has not so much hatred. And this hatred is passed on to school and to other children around him. And he's become a huge problem. He's so troubled that he doesn't want to do. He's just a huge problem for everybody. Let me just say he's a teacher's nightmare. But deep inside this child, he needs attention. That is what he's exposed to. So what can family do to ensure that every member of the family is healthy? What are the contents of our hearts? What are the things that get into our minds? How do these things get into our minds? Things get into our minds through our senses. What we see with our eyes will affect how we think. What we hear with our ears will affect how you think. So will families be able to guard the senses? Will mothers be able to protect their children's senses? Will teenagers or adolescents and children make a conscious effort to protect their minds? What are you seeing on social media? What are people telling you? I remember my oldest son, was chubby. And anytime he went to school, they laughed at him and called him Orobo. And he came home and I said, Mommy, I didn't want to go to school because they're calling me Orobo. He felt bullied, his self-esteem was being affected. But we had to swing into action. And sometimes you don't always keep quiet for bullies. Sometimes you may need to respond, tell the bully something back. Sometimes there are some you can take and just rub it off and move on. I told him, do you know how much your daddy goes to work every day? And work so hard to make money so we can give you food to eat. So it takes money to maintain this your status. So when next they call you bully, tell them it takes money to maintain. And he got to school and they say, Orobo. He says it takes money to maintain. And everybody laughed, that was funny. And after a while, they left him alone. When they saw he wasn't getting to him anymore, and he has something to respond to them about, they left him alone. And of course, he grew healthy and he left school. But the other children that nobody has been able to tell them, oh, don't worry, this is the solution to this. You're actually good, you're beautiful. I had a girl, a very pretty girl, who got into so many terrible things. While we're doing a therapy together, she told me, nobody has ever told me I'm beautiful. My father has never told me. So when people outside told her she was ugly, she believed it. And that affected the way she did things. That affected her academics dropped. Everything about her went so crazy because she's not hearing the right thing she's supposed to hear. So families will have to work together to control what gets into our minds, what gets into our senses. We must protect these areas very seriously. What are the children doing on social media? What are parents doing at home? Can we keep our quarrels to ourselves? Can we play maturity even in the midst of things? I know the economy is affecting a whole lot of things, and there's a lot of child labor going on. A group of children I work with, 80% of them, on social ground, not officially now, many of them are working. They're supposed to be in school, but because parents have said, you must bring something home, you must bring money, we can't continue living, you have to add something to do a living. And these children are underage. But while out there, they're exposed to a lot of things that their minds are not ready to see. So how do we deal with this? What can they do? And now it's unavoidable because somehow they need to eat, somehow they need to survive. The parents don't have any other option. This is what the society probably has thrown us into. And in the larger African society, is like that too, when high level of poverty is affecting a lot of things that happen in the family that consequently affects the mental health of members of families. What can we do? And that's why I love what Esther said. When you've gotten to a level where there is nothing you can do, it looks like there is no solution, I can't help this. That is where the spiritual comes in. That is where you actually, look up. So there's a bigger being out there who controls everything. There is actually solution. Let's not always think that we can follow the easiest way out. And that's why most families, most people that are into what we call Yahoo, that's the internet fraud, and of course Yahoo Plus, the one that people have to shed blood and do some sorts of crazy things, is on the increase now because a lot of family members are hopeless. They think the society, nothing good is going to come out of them. Recently, I was in the gathering of about 1,000 teenagers. And when they asked about being hopeful or thinking there is something good going to happen for them, 90% said they were hopeless. They don't see anything good coming out for them for their life. So they have to make their decisions. They have to find a way to make money. And that was very depressing for me. 90% out of 1,000 teenagers in our society feel very hopeless, and they all come from homes. So this is just a function of what the home front is like and all that. And something needs to be done urgently. So I'm using this media to talk to. If you're a member of a family here, we start from there. Influence as many people as you can within the sphere of your influence. This is a time to rise up and just go outside your family unit to encourage an adolescent, encourage a child, speak something nice, make a good compliment. As small as it is, it can go a long way. I know a little girl who people told was too dark. She was black and very ugly. That affected her learning. Her academics started dropping. Her social life, she was always like a recluse and won't interact with other people. And the girl, as dark as she was, for me, she was so pretty. And I told her, you look like an African princess. You actually make a very amazing model. And for the first time I saw her smile, I said, you even look more beautiful when you smile. And from there, we took it up. Before we knew it, she started picking up in her academics, and socially she was doing well. It was just a kind word. I didn't have to spend any money. So we can start from there. If you're a mother in the house, say kind words to your children. Then families can begin to do things together. It's not everything that I have to spend money. It doesn't take anything to play Ludo together. It doesn't take anything to pray together as a family. It doesn't take anything to sing together. Make happiness, create your own happiness. Even if it's over a bowl of gari and groundnut, Ijebu gari you're drinking, you can drink it happily. You can You can, sink to it and make yourselves happy. It's not, happiness is not so expensive. If it's something money can buy, a lot of rich people will be happy, and those that don't have money won't be happy. So please, we can all make this happen, and we all have a role to play in our different little units. Family may not just be mother and father together. It could just be at your place of work too. It could be in the society where you belong to little groups. Make somebody happy. Speak kind words to somebody. I know we're all stressed up, but let's do something to reach out to somebody. Esther says, show kindness. Be kind to somebody, because it's in giving out that you give to yourself. It comes back to you. And the truth is, if every family is healthy, the whole society is healthy. If 90% of families, or let me just say 60% of families in Nigeria or in Africa as a whole, 50% of families are very healthy, mentally are doing well. Trust me, it will be a big society out there. So everything starts from the family. If the family gets it right, then we have an amazing society. We have amazing churches and mosques. We have amazing offices. And we have amazing people generally in the world. We have a happier world. So this is just like a clarion call to everybody. Everybody in this chat room, you belong, or to this group, you belong to a family. So at the end of today, I'm asking that you go back home in your own little family, do something nice, reach somebody's mental health, talk to somebody, say kind thing to somebody, play a game, make somebody happy, do something, send good messages on the social media. We're tired of seeing all sorts and blood and bad messages. Send something nice. You be the change. You start the change. Thank you very much.
Wow. 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 Woo. Choma, that's powerful. That is very, very powerful. Wow. Please, let's appreciate Choma, everyone. Please, let's celebrate her. Wonderful. Wow. And I love that you're the last speaker, because family is everything. Family is everything. If we miss it in the family, then we'll miss in the society. I mean, you've told us, well, that the family, is a reflection of the society. I mean, thank you so much for that. As we were talking, you remind me of I normally talk about this. I mean, I grew up in a home where abuse was like the order of the day. I grew up, seeing my mom abuse my dad. I grew up, I mean, for a very long time, and it made me to contemplate suicide as a young person because of the trauma of what I saw at home. And I know many children are out there damaged because of the home. The home was never home for them. The home was not heaven for them. I mean, thank you so much for sharing. And I think it's just very important for all of us to go back home today and reflect on what we're saying to our children, what we're saying to our spouses, what we say to our husband, what we say to our wives, what we say to our gate man, right? It's not just people, your family is not just even people under your roof. People that live within your neighborhood are also part of your extended family as well. Thank you so much for that. I don't know if we do have questions there. Let me see. I'm going to quickly check here. I'm going to read out what people said here. Powerful message. Thanks. What is happening today in our society is a reflection of our family value. Family value. Very important. Choma, what do you think about family? Some people don't even reflect about it. I don't think they actually have family values at all. People just live lives. So what do you think family values should be that really promote mental health and well-being? Right? Yes. I love what Aaron Ahmed said about the family values. Yes. Very quickly.
Okay, the family value, although maybe due to, should I say, globalization and poor economy is affecting values. We're dropping a lot of our values, but then those are the things that are affecting us. Number one value is, as Africans, I'm talking as Africans now, is the man has been the head of the family, and even in the Bible, it says in the book of Proverbs that, children, the glory of children is their father. In the King James, I say glory of children is their father, and opposite of glory is shame. So where the father has no role, where the father is displaced, there's no respect, anything can happen, children can talk to their parents anyhow, then shame, is very eminent in such a family. And that means mentally, everybody's just going crazy there and nothing is, so we may just need to go back to those values, how things should be, priorities, The father, the mother, who is the neck? If the neck is the neck is not carrying the head, well, there's a problem. The father is the head. Then the children must respect their parents. Our parents, not only the mother, father, but every other adult in the family. We may as well go back to those things, to respect people, let people be accorded their positions, because most positions are spiritual, and the spiritual laws are broken. It affects every other area of life. I don't know.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much, Chioma. I mean, thank you so much. We all love the fact that we're actually here on a day like this. I see Mrs. Yinka now saying, I'm so happy I came to this Zoom session. Thank you so much. Appreciation to all presenters. Heart melting words. I mean, there's so much to really unpack from this session today. Very powerful, very, very powerful. And, it's very important what we say to our children, like you mentioned, right? I will also use like a personal experience. When I told my dad I would love to go to university, and then, I was like a laughing stock in the house. Like, my dad said, I can't. My dad said, I can't, even as at that time, when I really didn't look like someone that would ever go to university. And I told my dad I would love to go to school. My dad discouraged me, because my dad wasn't seeing a child that would become anything important in life, right? But instead of allowing that word to really break me, I decided I'm going to move ahead regardless. And my mom was there to really encourage. My mom was there to encourage me. So my mom was there to really encourage me severally, to like tell me, God will provide, God will do it, and all of that. And I see that in families, parents are not really mindful of what they say to their children. Many children today are product of the words spoken by their parent, by their parent, yes, either by their moms or by their dads. Many children today, and those children are the one causing chaos in the society, right? A child that is not raised in love cannot love anybody. And then, so you see those people going out there destroying and killing people. Life holds no meaning to them, right? Because they've never been taught the value of life, right? So, I mean, thank you so much for that. I'm going to ask our final words, and I'm going to spotlight the three of you, Chioma, Annie, and I don't know if Esther is still here. If she has not got to eat, go to meet. Esther, you see here or she's here? So put on your camera, please. I'm going to spotlight three of you very quickly, and let me see. Just your final words today. This has just been such an incredible, wonderful Monday. Esther, please put on your camera. I need to add it to this spotlight very quickly, so I can close for today. Very quickly, please. I can't see you. Where's Esther? Oh, okay. Oh, I see. It's okay. We'll take you like that. We know you're going to parties. Okay. So your final words, I'm going to start with Annie. Annie, what's your final word? Thinking about making mental health a priority at workplace. What's your final word, please?
What will I say? I'd say, remember that your job is not your life. You are not your job. The most important thing about you is you. Your mental health should be your priority. Find something you love, find something you enjoy, and use that as your personal medicine.
Thank you so much. Your job is not your life. Very important. Some people will never take break. They think their job is they think they are irreplaceable. But you said it tonight, you've said it this evening. The day you die, you'll be shocked. There are 1,000 people waiting for that same position. You think you
Exactly.
Yes. Thank you so much for that. That is so profound. Thank you so much. I'm going to go to Esther. Esther, your final word, please, on mental health, making mental health a priority in the society, very quickly. Unmute yourself, please.
Okay. All right. So I would say
discover yourself, know yourself, love yourself, and extend love and grace, that same love and grace you give to yourself, to the next person. That's one way. Just keep spreading kindness. That's one way. It makes you feel good.
Thank you so much, Esther. Thank you so much. That is so profound. Choma, your final word, please.
Okay, I'll just remind everybody that remember, everybody belongs to a family unit. So as you're leaving here this night, go back home, find something good to tell someone, say something nice to somebody, and make it a point of duty that you never sleep in a day without being kind or saying kind words to somebody. It doesn't cost anything. It's just your mouth moving. Thank you very much.
Wow, please let's appreciate our incredible speakers for today. Such a wonderful, beautiful holiday today. Thank you so much. Really appreciate. Let's celebrate them using the emojis. Please, let's celebrate all our amazing speakers for today. Annie, thank you so much for spending your evening with us. Thank you so much. We deeply appreciate you. Thank you so much. Esther, I know that you're going to goat pepper soup joint without inviting me along. It's okay. I'm not angry. It's okay. There's God in everything that we are doing. Continue. Just want to say thank you. Thank you so much. And we appreciate your presence with us today. Thank you so much, Chioma. Thank you. Family is everything. And I think, three of you today did justice to making mental health a priority, because if the society is affected badly in the place of mental health, if the family is affected badly in the place of mental health, if the workplace is affected, that means that humanity is affected. Take family out, take workplace out, take society out, then what else do we have left? Thank you so much. And I think it's very important for us to reflect on everything that was said today. Let's reflect on what Annie said about your job. Some of us, we take more extra jobs because of family demands. The day you die, your family member will spend that money. You will be shocked. They will eat, they will lick plates, they will only cry, just shed crocodile tears. But then you are done for, right? So think about it. Please think about your mental health. And if you feel like your boss is really on your nerve, or your boss is not really helping you out in the place of your mental health, find a way around it. Speak with a counselor and find help, receive help where necessary. Thank you so much, everyone. I want to say a big thank you to all our the coordinators for the mental health day today. Thank you so much, Ashley. Thank you so much, Mr. Festus Onipede. Thank you so much to all our regional coordinator from the Global Art in Medicine Fellowship. And most importantly, about a year ago, our sister fellowship was founded, called the Mental Health Fellowship. So today our sister fellowship clock 1. Yay! Amazing. Please, let's celebrate.